Hello everyone, welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 379. Sorry for starting a few minutes late, but I decided to eat dinner before the podcast, and then I went out to get my mail, and I saw a car that was absolutely covered in bird poop, and I had to come back to my apartment and grab my phone so I could go back out and take a picture of the car that was covered in bird poop. This car was covered in so much bird poop. At first I was like, oh, that poor person, they're so unlucky, their car got covered in bird poop. And then I saw just the amount of bird poop just smeared all over the side of this car and across the roof and down the front windshield and the hood. I actually started becoming very concerned for the bird's well-being. I'm like, oh my god, that poor bird. So I'll post a picture on my Twitters later tonight, but make sure I didn't accidentally get someone's license plate in the picture. It is ridiculously hot. It's one of the reasons that I haven't been doing anything other than live streams lately. It's just too hot to record anything. Especially when I turn on the lights so that I can light myself properly for videos. It's either stay up until 2 in the morning when it finally cools down, or get up at 6 a.m. and I'm not doing either. So it's actually not bad until the later afternoon. That's when it really heats up, and it stays that way all damn night. It's pretty miserable. No, not my car. Not my poop either. I know my poop. Today I would like to talk about bad website redesigns. How do I stand long sleep? Because my body shyness overrides my sense of comfort. That's why. It's like, why don't you just, sit there in a t-shirt? It's like, because I don't want to. I mean, trust me, when I'm off camera, I am not dressed like this. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, but, if I'm going outside or if I'm on camera, it's, pants and sleeves. That's just how I work. But yeah, bad website redesign. I'm going to try and talk about this without getting angry. But I'm an angry person who gets angry at dumb things that aren't really important, but I'll try to keep that tamped down. This is something I've been dealing with. It's a personal struggle, oh woe is me, for 20 years now. I think I am particularly unique in how I enjoy using the internet. So, the way I consume content on news or entertainment websites is I want to see everything that you produce so I can make an informed decision as to whether I want to read it or watch it or listen to it or whatever. That's not how modern websites generally like to display things. Instead of putting things in a very nice, handy, filterable, chronological list, they like to just load everything into a blunderbuss and then scatter it all across the page. So, we have Polygon updated their website this past week, and it sucks. It's terrible, and it's almost completely unusable. So where is it? It's here. There we go. So, well, you can't see me anyway. I may as well just let's see, where is it? We'll just do that. There we go. That's fine. Okay, so, Polygon. So, yeah, so we have a section up here with a large picture, which makes the organization right. It doesn't even the organization weird. It doesn't even line up properly. So you have to read kind of clockwise to see what this stuff is, but there's not really. It's just like high level news stuff. It's one's a gaming news thing, one's just a hey, here's fun stuff to watch and here's review. Then down here there's just a horizontal row of anime stuff, and then there's a bunch of space, and then a big green box with a bunch of cards that are just different video games, and I don't have any sense of where it would go if I clicked on it. And then just random more stuff that's sized differently and looks terrible, and then just popular stuff by what? Who the hell knows? When was any of this written? I don't know, but it's a vertical list of stuff. And then a big green box that's, again, formatted differently than this one, that just has Fortnite shit in it. And then shopping, which, again, formats differently, so it doesn't line up properly, and it's weird looking. And then you're down here into culture. Again, this isn't lined up properly, because this one's bigger, but this is the one on the left side. This one's bigger, but it's the one in the middle. What are you doing? And then tabletop gaming, and in order to... I have no idea what order shit was written in, although there's the latest over here, which seems to be a handy little blog roll, which honestly is all I want, but this is not clickable. You go in here, and there's no... You can go to different sections, like if you want to see all games or entertainment. There isn't one for reviews. That's kind of an odd choice. But everything is just scattered into multiple places in different sections, organized differently. I have to scroll all over the page to find anything. And what that guarantees is I will miss something. Probably several somethings. Your employees work hard to write these articles and produce these videos, and sometimes they get lost or buried because you've just smeared shit all over your website. But again, every website does it. I must be alone on this. People must... No. Just grab bags of random bullshit and just smear it all over the place. I like to hunt all over the web page. I like my eyes to be challenged on where to go to find things. Here's Go Nintendo. This is Kevin's site, his Nintendo fan site. He took a hiatus for a year, like 2 years ago, and then he came back with this. Which at least the cards are all the same size and they line up properly, but again, I have to scroll through all over the damn place to find things. Here's Kotaku. Again, here's a clump of stuff, here's a list of stuff, here's a horizontal row of stuff, here's just some games. I don't even know what these would go to. It's top games, great. What is it, just article? Probably articles with the tag of this game, then just more shit, just shit all over the place. Here's The Escapist, same thing, just a collection of crap up top, and then just more, and then a list over here, and a big thing over here, and then just absolutely obnoxious, completely, utterly useless and unreadable. And here's Destructoid, which did a site redesign like a couple of months ago, and you can see remnants of it here, but they realized that it fucking sucked and was unreadable, and they just reverted back to a blog roll. Here we go. Perfect. That's exactly that's all or at least I want. Latest articles, in order. I can just browse them. I would like a longer list, but at least it's there. Now, fun thing is almost all these sites eventually... Oh, and I went to the article announcing the redesign, and the comments are chock full of people asking for, a blog roll. A chronological list of all the stuff you're published, so I can just browse, come through every day or two, and then browse the most recent stuff and click on what I want to read. But what most websites do is they figure that out, and they have like an all stories, which is just exactly that. You can just scroll through all of the most recently published things until you got to the last thing you read. Perfect. Kotaku has the same thing. You can just read all of the stuff in order. The Escapist has the same thing somewhere. News reviews here. Is it under here? Well, it's somewhere, but here it. I forget where it is in their navigation, but there we go. There you go. Again, the roll's a little short, but there we go. Destructoid actually had that, but as you can see, it doesn't update very often. It's like 3 days old. What are we on the 18th, 17th? Yeah, where it's a couple days old. But their front page actually does that now. Now, over in Polygon, if you click on more stories, it takes you to an archive, which is exactly what I and a lot of other people in their comment section want to see. Oh, yeah, here it is. If you go into the comments here, a lot of these comments are, could we please just have a blog roll so we can see everything? And maybe, like, use this space a little bit better. The problem with this is you'll notice that the most recent thing is August 15th. Yeah, this is page 2, but you can't just do a page 1. It just goes back to the front page. So I have high confidence that Polygon will fix this. Yes, fix this. This is objectively bad. That's what objectivity is, when I don't like things. So, yeah. But that is that's extraordinarily common when it comes to entertainment and news websites and how they decide to display stuff. They just like to smear it all over the stuff in random patterns and organizations, which makes it it makes it harder to read, it makes it slower to read, and it guarantees you will miss stuff. I would rather not read something because I'm uninterested in it than not read something because I couldn't find it or I didn't see it. I really, really, genuinely, there are more important things in the world, yes. But I genuinely, truly wish that sites would just stop doing that. Or, at the very least, always provide just a goddamn blog roll. Just a chronological list of all of everything that you create. That's it. It's so simple. It's so easy. You just read it. Now, what would be cool is if you put a little HTML in there that accessed a cookie that said, here's the last thing you saw, and could, like, anchor link you to where you left off on your last visit. I've never seen anyone do that, but that would be cool. It would also be nice if you could just, if you were genuinely uninterested in, like, guides, for example, if you could filter stuff out. Like, I have no interest in guides, so I'll just, remove all of that from the blog roll. I've never seen anyone do that either. But again, it's kind of like how YouTube operates their subscription things. You should be able to subscribe to playlists. Because I see so many damn channels who are so afraid, and rightfully so, to try anything new because the algorithm will stab them in the face. It's like, oh, I have created a show that people seem to like. Maybe they'll like this other thing. No, don't do that. If you want to do something different, put it on a different channel where your audience will probably never see it. Don't advertise it, because you'll have to advertise it inside of one of your normal videos. That's terrible. We should have the functionality to, for example, if you're subscribed to my channel and you have just zero interest in debut review, you should be able to just don't recommend debut review. I put them all in a playlist, they're all tagged. You should be able to filter out the stuff that you're just genuinely not interested in. But after 20 years, YouTube has still never provided that most basic and obvious of functionality. Oh well. So, Deadpool versus, well, no, it's called Deadpool and Wolverine. I think it's in its third or fourth week now. It's finally double featuring with something other than itself at the drive-in, so I might go see it this week. It's double featuring with the new Alien movie, which gives me pause because I figure that the Alien movie is probably going to be a pretty dark film visually. Like, they're going to be running around spooky ship corridors, and it's going to, without a lot of lighting, and it's going to be really dark. Dark movies do not go well at the drive-in. They're really hard to see. Like, I saw the movie 65 at the drive-in last year. That was that Adam Driver movie where he's on prehistoric Earth fighting dinosaurs with a machine gun. I didn't like it, but I also couldn't see it. Like, the climax of the movie, I think he was fighting more than one T-Rex. T-Rex-ish thing. I think there were two of them. I honestly couldn't... There might have been three. I honestly couldn't tell. Too damn dark. I could not see the movie. And that's not a fault of the movie. That's just an effect of watching a movie outside. The ambient light washes out the picture a bit and makes night scenes very hard to see. Another thing I remember is I saw The Eternals at the drive-in a couple years ago when that came out. And there's a scene early in the movie where our characters are walking along a river or a canal or a reservoir or something, and one of the alien monster creatures is in the water and is like pacing them, like following them, stalking them like a shark. I didn't see that. So when the monster just jumped up onto the shore, I was like, oh, monster. Right? I only saw it when I watched the film again at home. I'm like, oh, hey, there's a monster in the water there. I totally didn't see that in the when I saw it at the drive-in. But the nice thing about the drive-in is, one, it's significantly cheaper. And two, you don't have to worry about other people. Or at least I've never had to. You don't have to worry. People can talk to each other. It doesn't matter. They're in their own car. People can check their phones. It doesn't matter. They're in their own car. People can eat nachos or rustle boxes of candy or bags of chips and make all kinds of noise. Again, it doesn't matter. They're in their own cars. I don't have to deal with other people, which is lovely because I hate other people. That's the reason why. Again, this is a me thing. I guess it's like website redesign. I talk to people all the time who just love the theater-going experience. I've always hated it, and it's always just been, like, if I could go to the thing I like about the theater is big screen, good sound, and I get to see the movie now instead of however long it takes for it to, back in my day, hit video, or today, hit streaming. But for a lot of people, there is something truly magical about seeing a film with a crowd, with other people, laughing together and gasping in terror or suspense together. That communal aspect is truly appealing to so many people, and I certainly don't begrudge them that. But I absolutely despise that. I hate that. I want to watch a movie. I don't want to hear you. I don't want a person walking in front of me as they go to the bathroom. I don't begrudge them the need to take a potty break. Movies can be very long. It's fine, but it bothers me. I don't want to hear other people talking. I don't want to hear them moving. I don't want to hear boxes of food or candy. I don't want to hear people chewing or snorting or laughing or farting or whatever. I certainly don't want someone hurling all over the floor, which has happened multiple times in my theater-going experiences over the years. Yeah, so the drive-in is, there are some drawbacks. Dark movies are very hard to watch. So, bright, colorful cartoons, Pixar movies, Disney cartoons, stuff like that. Like, I saw, what was the one where you don't talk about Bruno? It's not Enchanted. Oh, Encanto. I saw that at the drive-in and had no problems watching that because it's bright and colorful. but dark movies are really hard to watch. So Alien Romulus, I think it's called, um, probably going to be really hard to see. It's like, I have no idea if this movie's any good. I'm assuming there are aliens in there somewhere, but I can't see a damn thing. Um, Chicago says, I loved COVID because most people weren't out. I didn't have to worry about family gatherings. Yeah, I mean, I hate the people getting sick and dying part, but being a huge introvert, like, I work permanently from home now, and I love it. I absolutely adore it. It's the completely personal thing, but it's the absolute best thing. I love not going to an office. I love not dealing with other people. I have absolute, for me, I understand this is not how it works for everyone, but for me, there is absolutely zero difference, at least as far as like work efficiency goes, talking to someone in person or talking to someone over Zoom or, Teams or Slack or whatever. To me, it is exactly the same. But I know a lot of people who definitely do not feel that way. They're like, "No, I need to be there with the other people." And I'm like, "Why? No, you don't. I don't need any of you for anything, I don't want to be around other people. Other people are awful. But again, that's me. Let's see. Chaos says, I loathe people too, but I prefer the theater. Plus, the local drive-in closed a few years ago. Yeah, I have to drive nearly... How far is it? It's about 15 miles, maybe, to get to the drive-in. So, yeah, it's a 30-some mile round trip. It's an evening, especially since I'm seeing a double feature. That is a commitment. Chicago says, unfortunately for me, the closest drive-in is far away. Yeah, drive-ins definitely not as common, but they are better today than they were when I was young. When I was young, they were still doing the little speaker box that you had to hang on your window. So you had this really tinny mono sound for the movie. It was, yeah. Today you just turn into an FM station and the movie sound just comes over your radio, so the sound is as good as the speaker system in your car. So, but anyway, what I was going to talk about is like, well, if I see Alien Romulus this week, and I always go to the drive-in like on Tuesday nights because there's nobody there. I have no idea how busy they are like during a weekend, but when I go during weeknights, there's like maybe 4 or 5 people at each screen. So I mean, it's great. There's no one there. But I was thinking since if I'm gonna go see Alien Romulus, or at least stare at a very dark screen and wondering what the hell's going on, I should probably finally watch the Alien movies that I never got around to seeing, Prometheus and Alien Covenant. So I watched those. I watched Prometheus last night and Covenant this morning. So quick review, if you didn't see my tweets. I thought Prometheus was bad, and I thought Covenant was actually pretty decent, and retroactively made Prometheus more interesting. But the thing I found most fascinating about both of these movies, Chicago says, I found a movie theater only 8 miles away. I can see Grease or Friday the 16th. Jurassic Park, nothing from this millennium, though. Yeah. A lot of drive-ins will be essentially like dollar theaters. They'll be the second-run films, or even just old Princess stuff. Also, the drive-ins are all digital projection now, so or at least the one I'm talking about, because they used to be film, and film could break. So, let's see, Cass also says, I go to the movies in the middle of the afternoon, usually there are like 10 or 15 people total. Yeah, in the before times when I went to the theater, I always saw the Sunday matinees. that partially because it was cheaper. It was affordable. Um, I think back in 2020, which was the last film I saw in the theater, in I think February of 2020 or January of 2020, one of the two. So right before the pandemic was the Harley Quinn movie, Harley Quinn, or no, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, whatever the full name of the movie is. And I really like that movie, so if that's the last movie I ever seen in the theater, it's a pretty good one to go out on in my opinion. But I went to I always saw the Sunday matinees, and in 2020 the prices had increased to about like $7.50. Used to be about $3.50 or so. I have no idea what the hell a movie ticket is in Southern California now. It's probably like $20 a person. The drive-in is $10. Used to be $7. Used to be $7 for a double feature. Now it's $10 for a double feature. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about is the two Alien movies, which Ridley Scott returned to. I guess he had a story to tell, and that story was... I don't know how this conversation started. I'm trying to imagine like Ridley Scott in a room full of producers or something, and they're like, "All right, Ridley, you want to do a sequel to Alien, huh? Well, I mean, the last movie didn't do too well, mainly because it wasn't that great. Resurrection, I think that was late '90s. But it's been about 15 years, so people have forgotten about it. It's been long enough, and no one gives a shit about the Alien versus Predator movies. Those don't count. So, what you got for us?" And Ridley says, "Okay, what I want to do is I want to explore the origins of the alien." And the producers went, "I'm sorry, what?" And Ridley says, "Okay, have you ever asked yourself, but where does the alien come from?" And the producers doubtless stared at him, all confused like, and went, "No." And Ridley said, "Okay, well, ask yourself, where does the alien come from?" And the producers, still utterly confounded, are like, "Space." He's like, yeah, no. So what I want to do is I want to dig into the backstory of the alien. Get into the lore. We need an origin story for the alien. And the producers are doubtless staring at this man going, "Wait, let me get this straight. You want to dedicate an entire movie to the backstory of the alien? To the evolution of the alien, to how it came to be? You want to spend a whole movie doing that?" And Ridley Scott said, "No. I want to spend 2 movies doing that." Why? When did Alien come out? Like 1978 or something like that? Has a single person in the last 46 years... Prometheus came out in 2012. So, in the previous several decades, had even one person ever, at any point, asked, "I wonder what that alien's backstory is. I bet it's got some really interesting origins. I bet its lore is fascinating. I bet the biological development and evolution of the alien is truly fascinating and worthy of a movie, nay, 2. I mean, well, I guess Ridley Scott's one. So, these movies delve into the extraordinarily overcomplicated lore of how the alien came to be. I guess it just wasn't enough. It's just an alien. It's just an alien. It's an alien. It's a space monster. Where does the alien come from? From space. Who cares? It's an alien. It's just something you don't want to run into. Because it's toothy and irritable. I don't mind really. It just struck me as really odd that that was the angle they went with for both movies. They took two movies to explain how the alien came to be. And depending on which movie we're talking about, to different levels of success, but I sat through both of these movies thinking, who cares? Why? No one asked. No one thought to ask because no one cares about where the space monster came from. It's just an alien. It's just another organism that exists out in the cosmos somewhere that you just don't want to run into. And it's got this super long, convoluted backstory of there's another race of beings that used their DNA to make humans on Earth for shits and giggles. And then they just changed their mind at some point and said, you know what? we're gonna make this horrible pathogen, this black goo pathogen that just eradicates an entire species, and we're gonna just dump it on Earth and sit back and watch while eating popcorn. But they accidentally, I guess, fell face first into their own goo and then eradicated those of them that were heading the Earth to eradicate us. But then another ship, like, found them, and then they triggered the goo monster, but it like, evolved into kind of a proto, alien xenomorph thing. And then they were like, the survivors were like, alright, let's go to the aliens' homeworld and teach them a lesson. And so in the second movie, they go over there and they dump the payload and just wipe out the entire civilization. And then the angry robot, who's like, because he's the creation of the creation of the creation. Oh. So he like spends 10 years just doing artificial selection to breed the perfect organism, and a ship full of colonists. They're gonna go colonize another planet. They find a signal and they drop by and they're like, hey, and he's like, oh hey, it's a nice batch of people you got there. I could use that because the last person I had is dead because my alien experiments popped out of her chest. So you guys will do. And so he finally develops the alien that we all know and love today. And that's where the alien comes from. Isn't that fascinating? No, doesn't that recolor and contextualize and improve your enjoyment of aliens, and the rest of them? No? No, it doesn't, not at all. No, Ridley, no. I mean, there were some things in the movies. There was like one scene in Prometheus I liked. One dude gets like infected with a goo monster, and then he has sex with his girlfriend, and she gets impregnated with the goo monster, but it's like I almost said gestates rapidly, so she's like, oh my god, it's gonna go popping out of me, but they have this like medical bay, so she this pod that performs surgeries, so she crawls in and she has it perform a cesarean section on her. And it opens her up and yanks out a squid, and then this squid is hanging from like a claw that you would see in like a claw game where you pick up like plushies and stuff. There's this tentacle monster just freaking out, hanging on this claw, while the pod is like stapling her gut back shut, and she's like, hurry, trying to get out of this thing while the squid monster is flailing in her face. That scene's great. I love that scene. That was a ton of fun. That's like 4 minutes out of a 2-hour movie, but that scene was pretty great. I liked that one scene. And no one told me Idris Elba was in the movie. And he totally is. Like, I saw his name in the credits, so I was like, holy shit, Idris Elba's in this? No one said Idris Elba was in this. Idris Elba's awesome. What, does he die immediately? No, he's in most of the movie. So, there's a lot of very charismatic actors. I mean, you've got Idris Elba, you've got Romina Pace, you've got Michael Fassbender, you've got Charlize Theron. These are actors who just radiate charisma. They're great. But the characters all suck. I mean, unfortunately, now to have a successful horror movie, you need your characters to make bad decisions. Typically, right? If your characters never only make good decisions, you're probably not going to have much of a horror movie. But there's a fine line one must ride when doing that, because you want to make sure that your characters, when making bad decisions, are at least making understandable human decisions. You don't want your audience sitting there going, no human in the history of the earth would ever make that decision. No one would do that. I'm checked out. I was suspending disbelief for the space monster, but that is just so far-fetched I don't believe it. No one is going to try and pet the angry space cobra. No one's going to do that. Chicago, I wonder if they're going to make a movie about the Predator's backstory and lore. I mean, the comics have already kind of shown us the Wakuja. I forget what the name of the predator species is in the comics, but we've seen it, and I've read some of them, and some of them are actually pretty good. I mean, they've gone into a little bit. I mean, Predators, the one with Adrian Brody from nearly 15 years ago, that one gives us a bit of a more of a look into their society. The Predator gave us a bit more of a look onto how they interact, but yeah, the Predator is just, the Predator versus army guys in the jungle. Predator 2, the Predator versus LA cops. Prey, the Predator versus Native Americans. Cool. Just do that. The Predator versus Vikings. The Predator versus Ninja. Just do that. That's all you need to do. I mean, I'm certainly not saying you can't do anything more ambitious or more creative or weirder. Fine. The Alien Predator versus aliens. Fine. Yeah, try stuff. It's fine. But I still just find that where'd the alien come from? It's like space. Who cares? An angry robot made them. Oh, okay. That's where the alien comes from. You don't have to watch the movies now. An angry robot made the alien. There you go. That certainly colors how you view Sigourney Weaver or Ellen Ripley's fight against the alien in the first movie now, right? Now that you know the alien was actually is like a dachshund, right? It was selectively bred by an angry robot. Oh, that changes things now. Okay. Whatever. Prometheus is not good. My biggest problems with the film is it has a lot of those decisions that just make no damn sense. The first one that stuck out to me... Well, actually, no, it wasn't the first one that stuck out to me. It's one of those movies where it's like... We're getting all of these characters together, and we're putting them in hypersleep, and we're flying them 2 light years away to a planet to perform a mission, right? But then the way it's presented is we get to the planet, we wake up the crew, and now we have our meeting where we explain to everyone what they're doing here and what their job is, and it's like, really? Like none of them thought to ask before they left? It was just, hey, we're paying you to go to another planet. Don't worry about what the actual job is. Just get into the sleeping pod, Shinji. It's like, really? That's just weird. That doesn't make any sense. That's not a huge deal, because it's just exposition. They need to exposit what we're doing so that the audience understands it. Surely, they don't even, it's like, as you all know, It's like, well, why are you telling us if we all know? That's a pet peeve of mine. They do that. But one of the big things is Michael Fassbender, the robot, is waking up the crew from their space, and this takes place before Aliens, so they're like suspended in some like goopy amniotic crap. So they wake up out of the pod and they're covered in goopy crap, and they're barfing it up, and they're toweling themselves off, and they're just drippings with goo all over the place. It's a lot of fun. So he goes to another room where another crew member is sleeping, as is Charlize Theron's character, and he walks down a hall, goes into the room to where her pod is, in her private room, and oh no, she's not in the pod. And he looks down at the floor, and there's gooey footprints. And the gooey footprints lead out the door he just came in, and down the hall that he just walked down. And I have to imagine that every single audience member was like, well, that's not a very observant android, is he? How the heck did he walk down the hall and just simply not notice the gooey footprints leading out of the room he was heading towards? I mean, like, the easiest fix to this would you just make the room have another door on the other side. Michael Fassbender robot walks into the room, sees, oh, she's not in there. Cranes his neck and sees on the other side a gooey set of footprints leading out the door on the opposite end of the room. Okay, that makes more sense. It's just a simple little thing you can do to make it make sense. And again, in the grand scheme of things, it's not terribly important, but there are so many of these little things. Like Charlize Theron, they're like, she's a disciplined military lady, badass, and they depict that by, she gets out of her amniotic fluid bath, she wakes up and immediately hits the floor and starts doing push-ups, while dripping goo all over the place. And it's like, that doesn't... I'm not buying that. I mean, you'd think she'd... And she actually walks to a different room. She doesn't roll out of bed and start doing push-ups. No, she gets out of there, walks down the hall to a different room to start doing push-ups, while still drippings with goo. And it's like, really? Also, it's a poorly shot scene because there's two angles. There's one with the camera in her face. So you have Charlize Theron's face right in the camera, and she's doing push-ups. But she's doing, full range push-ups, chest to the ground, full extension. She's doing push-ups like that, and my camera really just went out of focus. Let's see if I can... No, camera does not like focus. There we go. But then the wide shot, she's doing push-ups like this. She's doing these very abbreviated pushes. She's not doing the full chest to floor thing. In one shot, she's doing this, and the next one, she's doing these weak little pumps. And I'm like, oh, come on. Come on. Someone had to notice that. Use CG to fix that. Maybe someone said, we'll fix it in post. So none of that stuff's particularly important, but then you get to stuff where it's like, oh, we've got 6 hours, we should do it in the morning. Or rather, one I actually like. It's like, you know what, it'll be dark in 6 hours, we should go explore the alien cave in the morning so we have more time. And the guy's like, no, it's Christmas, I want to open my presents. And it's like, yeah, you know what, stuff like that I buy, right? People getting impatient and making bad decisions. I could see someone making that decision. But they get into the scary space cave, and two guys get lost. A geologist, and I don't know what the other guy does. But they're trapped there overnight. No one can get to them. And they think they're alone. There's no life on this planet. But suddenly, there's this alien snake. And it rears up, and it has a flared hood like a cobra. So it comes up and it flares out its hood. And it, hisses at him. And it's like, oh, you're so beautiful. Let me poke you with my finger. And it's like, okay, no, I don't buy this at all. These guys who were scared, I mean, they'd certainly appreciate and be fascinated by alien life, I'm sure, but I mean, this takes place in, like, I don't know, 2090 or something, 2080, 2090, something like that. So unless cobras went extinct over the last 70 years or so, and human beings just have no memory of that type of aggressive display, that's a pretty universal display of, piss off, buddy, I'm dangerous, right? You don't pet the alien cobra that's flaring its hood and hissing at you and has a vagina mouth full of teeth, you know? Don't stick your fingers at that. What? And then it jumps and grabs him and starts eating him. It's like, what did you think was going to happen, moron? The movie is Prometheus is just utterly chock-a-block with weirdly dumb stuff like that. Characters making decisions that you're like, no one would ever do that. I do not believe anyone would ever make that choice. Luckily, Covenant, the follow-up, is a lot better in that regard. It's got much better characters who, while they will oftentimes make bad decisions, they make believable bad decisions. Like, someone moving the ship out of the safety tolerance. You know, he's getting the ship a little bit too close to a storm because he's trying to get in range of where the ground crew are so he can hear them on the radio. Because his wife's down there, and he heard that bad things were happening. That's probably not a good move, but you understand why he's doing that. You know, when people are panicking, when, you know, the shit hits the fan and things are going south and you panic and the people you care about and love are in danger, you are prone to making some unwise choices. That's perfectly human. That's not a problem. So Covenant is a lot better in that regard, as compared to Prometheus. But whew, heavens to Betsy. Let's see. Yachtcha. Yeah, Exile. Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, you probably looked it up, so I'm... Yes, you do. It's fun. Sorry, Jared. I don't know what that's referring to. But I'm sure it is fun. Prometheus, I didn't like. It was actually a difficult sit for me. I had to pause it a few times and take breaks because the movie's just kind of boring me. Covenant, on the other hand, is just as long. It's a couple minutes over 2 hours, but I was able to sit through the whole thing in one sitting. So, I liked it much better. The Conra? What is a... Oh, Cobra. Oh, you pet the Cobra? You pet... Jared would pet the space Cobra. Okay. Alright, well... I would not. If I was on an alien planet and an alien space cobra bared its toothy maw and hissed at me and flared its hood like a earth cobra, I'd be like, I'm gonna keep a respectful distance. that's giving me some piss off vibes that I will grant you your space. You have told me that this is your personal space, and I respect that. Yeah. So maybe I'll try to see Alien Romulus as best I can, being that it's probably a very dark movie, and watching a dark movie at the drive-in is always a challenge, but most of the previews or trailers I've seen, or most of the scenes in the marketing I've seen for Deadpool and Wolverine take place in broad daylight, so I think that one will probably be fine. I'd send in someone I don't like to deal with the Space Cobra. Jeff! Where's Jeff? Who cares? Well, I got a Space Cobra here. Is it hissy? Oh, yeah. Jeff! Come pet the Space Cobra! No, it's flaring its hood. I'm sure that means it likes you. Alright, so, lastly, I would like to talk about, I watched the first couple episodes of an anime, which I think Jared might have recommended some time ago, called Mashle, Muscles and Magic. It's an anime. It's a Harry Potter fanfic, is what it is. It's not even an homage. It's literally a direct ripoff of Harry Potter. Basically, the concept is, what if a student attended Hogwarts, or rather, what is the Is it Muggle? That's a person who has no magical ability at all. Is Muggle, right? What if a Muggle attended Hogwarts, but that Muggle had like superhuman strength, such that was so unbelievably strong that he seemed like he had magic powers, right? Which is kind of a funny idea. I wish they'd just have some of their own concepts, because I mean, even the some of the headmaster is clearly modeled after the movie's depiction of Dumbledore. One of the instructors is clearly modeled after Maggie Smith and as Professor McGonagall or something like that. The Mandrake roots are there, and they look almost exactly the same. They have what is almost exactly Quidditch. It's like, guys, come on, make up. They have 3 houses instead of 4. It's like they all wear the same similar robes. It's like, guys, come on, make up your own world here. That's one thing I found disappointing. But what I thought was really interesting is, when I watched it, I was comparing it to One Punch Man, an anime that I watched the first couple episodes of and didn't like. Yeah, I know, I'm that guy. I'm that guy who doesn't like One Punch Man. To be fair, I've only seen the first couple episodes. But I watched the first couple episodes of Mashal, and I thought it was really interesting because Mash, the main character in Mashal, and Saitama, main character One Punch Man, are actually pretty damn similar. They're both insanely strong people who can do nigh miraculous feats just using sheer physical strength. And they both have a completely flat affect in their in how they carry themselves, in their manner of speaking, in their expressions. There are some differences, of course, but I was like, huh, this is interesting. I'm actually not like bowled over, like I'm not running out in the street and grabbing people by the lapel and slapping them and telling them to go subscribe to Crunchyroll so they can watch this. But I think Mashal's pretty funny. Don't know if I'll sit through the entire show, but it was good enough to watch several episodes. So I was comparing the two. I'm like, okay, what's the difference between One Punch Man and Mashal? Why is one working for me for the most part, and the other just absolutely not? Like, I found One Punch Man kind of off-putting, and they actually have similar art styles too. It's like I'd have to check to see who the mangaka is or who the studio behind it is, because the art style is pretty similar between the two. It's not the same, but it's got a lot of similarities in that I don't like either of them. I think One Punch Man and Mashal are both aesthetically not to my taste, but not so off-putting to my artistic sensibilities that I just can't watch it. It's just, I don't really care for the style that they're going for. I didn't care for One Punch Man because Saitama, at least as depicted in the first couple episodes, didn't care about anything. And that's the conceit. This guy is One Punch Man. He is so ridiculously strong that he can beat any opponent in literally just one punch. So he doesn't have to try. So he's lost all motivation to care. He's lost all of his enthusiasm. He just can't be bothered with this shit anymore because it's no fun. It's no challenge. Which is a fine place to start, and I'm sure the story evolves from there. I just, again, haven't seen it. I didn't connect with it because I just found Saitama off-putting, because he has almost no personality, again, in these early episodes, except just being apathetic and not caring and not being able to work up the energy to bother or care, or bother to care. And I was like, well, then neither can I. Also, the humor just didn't work for me. And again, just from the early episodes, it seemed like Saitama's only trick was just punching something so hard it ends. Which is, for me, it's a conceit that makes for a good 10-minute episode, not an entire series. Again, haven't seen the whole thing. I'm sure it does different things as it moves on, and, other characters are introduced. But for me, for the first couple of episodes, I was like, I just don't care for this. It wasn't for me. But Mashal is a little bit different in that our main character isn't uncaring. He's not apathetic. He's not emotive, but he does care. He's actually very considerate and very kind and very thoughtful, even though he's kind of stupid and can never remember how to open a door, so he usually ends up pulling it off its hinges. And he doesn't do that out of malice, he's just dumb. And he tries to fix it, but makes it worse, 'cause he's dumb. Which makes him at least more charming than Saitama. Because he's going to magic school, which he doesn't want to go to. He just wants to hang out with his dad, or his adopted father. But he's, essentially the magic mafia is threatening his family, and they're like, okay, well, if you go to Hogwarts and you become top of the class, we'll leave your family alone. So he does. He's doing this because he cares about his family. But he has no magic, so he has to use his impressive strength to essentially fake his way through the school. And in the first couple episodes, he doesn't just punch things real hard. Although if you cast like a fireball spell at him, he just whaps it out of the sky like he's, smacking a gnat or something, which is pretty funny. But what I'm liking about the show as compared to the early episodes of One Punch Man is One Punch Man just punches once, and that's it. It did that every time. Again, just the early episodes. With MASH, he comes up with different ways to use physical strength to solve problems. And the joke is the absurd, ridiculous way he uses strength and it's to solve a magical problem. And it's not just punch it really hard. For example, he's roped into the playing on the Quidditch team. Which, if you've never read Harry Potter or seen the movies, it's soccer while flying a broomstick, essentially. But he can't fly, so he's standing on the ground holding a broom, going, And you, as the audience, are like, "What's he gonna do? What could he punch? Is he just gonna jump extraordinarily high and grab the ball and chuck it through the goalpost?" No. It's much more hilariously stupid. He jumps up into the air, but then just doggy paddles. He kicks his feet so fast and hard that he's able to hover in the air. Which is not how that works, but it ends up being being hilarious. So he grabs the ball and he chucks it through the goal, but he has so much strength and control that he puts spin on the ball that it just goes through the goal and circles back around to him like a boomerang. So he's sitting on a broom in the air, kicking his feet wildly like a Sonic or the Road Runner. It's just this blur of motion. And he's just chucking the ball through the goal, and it keeps circling back to him, and he ends up scoring 1,000 points. It is utterly absurd to the point of hilarity. And for me, that kind of imaginative creativity is a lot more entertaining and satisfying than what was displayed, at least in the very early episodes of One Punch Man. So that is why Mashal connected with me in its early episodes, and One Punch Man did not. It is a show that I would like to go back to and at least try. I think I watched like 2, maybe 3 episodes. It's like maybe I should get up to at least 5, maybe get a handle on where the show's going. I always, I mean, it may just be One Punch Man, not for me. That's a bummer, but that happens. Not every piece of media, no matter how popular they are for every person. It may just not be for me. But so many people really love that show so much. It's like, kind of curious to see what people really genuinely enjoy about the show, right? So there you go. If we're doing a death battle of Saitama and MASH, Saitama probably wins, I would imagine. But I think MASH, at least in the opening episodes, has the more engaging show, at least for my taste. So that's it for tonight. If you see any alien space cobras, please do not try to pet them. That will likely not go well. Tomorrow we are going to continue playing Trails of Cold Steel. It's I keep stumbling. I'm like, Trails in? No, that doesn't make. Trails on? No, Trails of. Yes, okay. So Trails of Cold Steel, and I didn't grind until I was 2 over leveled. So it's the Iraq Canyon path or wherever we're going is not going to it's not going to be too much of a cakewalk, I don't think. But I did play it a little bit and got some extra money in Sepith and unlocked a few slots and actually unlocked a few crafts and bought some more quartz and redid the loadout a little bit. And Emma's casting spells like a beast now. Fun. All right, I am going to the store. I have to buy stuff because otherwise I'll go hungry. Oh, and I'm also glad I got a promotion because my internet bill just went up $15 a month. Which, I mean, I can afford it. It's okay, but really, I just wish that Spectrum is the service I have. I really wish they'd communicate that and not just surprise you with a bill that's $15 higher than the previous month's, right? Because I have Spectrum for my phone too, and they changed, and I find out about these price changes. And I know they have my email because they keep sending me bills. I always find out about the price increases when I get my bill and it's higher. I just wish they'd be like, hey, just so you know, we're increasing prices in August or whatever. That's, I don't know, it just strikes me as a courtesy. So. All right. Also, in the early planning stages for this year's Extra Life charity event, that'll be, I think it's the first weekend in November. I think it's like November 2nd or 3rd or something like that. 2nd? Yeah, I think it's 2nd. Look forward to that. I'll probably start advertising that in October, but just making plans now. Of course, if anyone has any suggestions for incentives or games to play or things, send me a message or something, and I'll certainly consider it. So that's it for me. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you tomorrow for some Trails of Cold Steel when it's not quite as swelteringly hot in my apartment yet. So have a good night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.